scrimmage.
2nd and 9 for the Kingsmen. The handoff for Vakala. He's got a huge hole. 40, 45, 50, 45, 40. No one's going to catch him. He's at the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Cedric Vakalahi. And the Penn Kingsmen have opened the door a little bit more.
Counter dive. They thought that would be good, too. Fake to the right, come back to the left. Their old counter play.
Welcome here to the Penn Preview, the Week 2 preview here on the Regional Radio Sports Network. My name is Adam Demaree. Alongside me, Cory Yeoman, the head coach of the Penn Kingsmen. The Kingsmen 1-0 so far in the 2015 campaign. Nice 34-0 win on Friday, coach, over at Valparaiso. You take a look at it, a little rusty in the first half, 13-0 at halftime, but the second half you guys started to move the ball with purpose, with ease, and it seemed like things started clicking. What was the biggest difference in your mind between half number 1 and half number 2?
Well, I just think overall, I think our kids played extremely hard. They competed well, but we didn't execute like we're capable of, and that's going to be a process. And I think they executed a little bit better in the second half than they did in the first half, that's for sure. But there's still a lot of stuff to work on.
When you take a look offensively, Cedric Vakala had a great second half. Ended up we had him for 140 yards and a touchdown, big 76-yard touchdown to open up the third quarter in that opening drive. When you take a look at it, he only had 25 yards in the first half, picked up so much in the second half. What opened up for him in half number 2?
Well, I just think anytime the running game's going or the passing game's going, you better take a look at what's happening up front. And I think we fit a little bit better in some of those plays. Guys got picked up a little bit better, and you know, it takes a little bit of a time for not only the linemen to get used to working together with each other and the guy on his left and his right, but also the backs to get used to the offensive line in a game type situation. So I think that was part of the reason.
Well, and you mentioned the offensive line. Ben Knutson moved from defensive line to left tackle this year. Seemed to fit in pretty nicely on that left side.
Yeah, he did a nice job. You know, and you know, it's still a process for him. You know, he went a whole season last year without really playing any offensive line other than like in practice situations. But for his first game back, he did a nice job.
Receiving core and Camden Bones still kind of getting to know each other a little bit as well in terms of being in the number 1, number 2, and number 3 positions without guys like Nate Miller or Noki Mawala in the passing game. I thought Nolan Metcalf had a great catch for 36 yards in that first quarter. How would you see and define the quarterback and receiving core's relationship at this point in the season?
Well, I mean, our routes have got to be a little bit crisper, so our reads have to be a little bit faster and more precise, and I think that will only get better with time, and I know those guys are going to work extremely hard at it. They weren't real happy with maybe their overall performance about how all the reads that were made and all the routes that were ran, but again, I thought they competed well and they were focused, but we can need to improve on that as well.
When you take a look defensively, I know that was obviously some of the big question marks with replacing 8 starters from last year, but you take a look, Parker Atkins played really well in the middle linebacking core. I thought the secondary played great. Jason Alexander stepped up as well. Austin Loffman played well. The front four did a great job. Kobe, you had Zach Main as well. How would you assess how the defense played with, once again, holding the Valparaiso Vikings under 100 yards total?
Well, I mean, they flew to the football, and like we said earlier, they competed and they ran to the football. All their techniques weren't perfect. Execution-wise, there's a lot on the table left to be fixed up, but they competed well. And after the game, I mean, there are some guys that are a little disappointed in their play, both offense, defense, and special teams. But I was very, very happy with the way we competed and played as a team.
And you mentioned special teams, a little bit of an interesting game in terms of in the kicking game. Two teams with established kickers. You had a couple missed extra points, couple block kicks, couple block punts. What did you see in the special teams game, especially in how each team's coverage kind of attacked the kicker?
Well, I mean, I don't mind us blocking kicks, but I was a little upset when we got our kick blocked, to be honest with you. And again, that was a technique thing and a fundamental thing. That ball shouldn't have been blocked. I mean, we needed to work on that and get it off a little bit quicker, and so we need to improve on that. And it's easy to see when you watch the film. It was easy to see Friday night what took place, and we've got to work on that. I thought our rush teams, we were able to force some bad kicks and block a punt and get our hand on a field goal as well. So I think that was huge against a kid that's a pretty good kicker. But again, our return game needs to improve as well. Our punt return team, we left some stuff on the table that we could have had, so wasn't very happy with our kickoff return and our punt return, and our kickoff coverage needs to improve as well.
All right, Coach, you take a look at this week. You're going to be home now at newly named TCU Freed Field. You're taking on a Merrillville team, another team out of the Doolin Athletic Conference, which struggled last Friday night as a conference. Only LaPorte, the only team to win in the conference. But you look at what Merrillville brings to the table, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, and a new face at the helm of the program in Brad Cease.
Well, Brad will do a great job. I mean, he was a heck of a player in high school at Warsaw and at Ball State. And he's an intense young man. He's got him playing hard. Zach did a great job. Zach and I are good friends, and got a chance to spend some time with Brad and spent the time playing at, orchestrating defenses to try to stop him before, but he's got him playing hard. They do have a lot of speed. I mean, there's a possibility he may miss one guy 3 times on one play. You know what I mean? That's the kind of speed. Yeah, he may go by a couple times. Don't worry, because he's probably coming back around. But they've got guys that can go on the outside. Their skill positions are very, very impressive. Their quarterback's returning starter. He can wing it, and he's a seasoned veteran. And the Streck kid and his younger brother, he looks pretty good as well, the younger one. But, going both ways at center and playing the nose position looked very, very impressive against a very tough Andrean team. Now, they lost the game 12-15, but also that was against a team that had won the state championship and a state runner-up the previous 2 years, and Merrillville's on the 2-yard line and elected to go for it as opposed to kicking a field goal, which, that's part of the game, and came up just a little bit short. But they competed well against a heck of a football team.
All right, Coach, break it down for us offensively, defensively, and especially in the special teams game. How do you guys win them on Friday night?
Well, our special teams have to improve greatly. We need to get more out of our special teams, and on a return game, that has to definitely improve. Our coverage teams have to do an excellent job because of their team speed and their returners, whether it's a punt return and we're trying to cover a punt, or if it's our kickoff team trying to stop them from having a big kickoff return. We've got to protect too. I mean, they can rush as well and have great speed trying to block punts. So special teams are going to be a huge factor, and we need to make big improvements if we want to be successful on Friday night and become a championship football team, because I think that's one of the crowning pieces. Our defense, every game, got to get a little bit better. Technique-wise, fundamental-wise, get used to each other, but the main thing is try to tackle and try to run the football and tackle the football as best as possible. And the other stuff, if you do that, the other stuff's going to fall into place. You just don't want to make a mental error that's going to get you out of place. So those are the keys for defense. When you place a team like this that has that kind of speed on the defensive side, the linebacker core and their secondary and a big physical defensive line, you have to understand going in the ball game, they're going to make some plays. We need to keep our composure and take advantage of what's there. And there'll be things that they do that won't be there, and we can't force things where it can't be forced. We've got to take advantage of the opportunities that they give to us and keep our composure, because they're going to make some plays. Hopefully we'll make a few ourselves.
Absolutely, Coach. Best luck on Friday.
Thanks, Adam.
Cory Yeoman, head coach of the Penn Kingsmen, join us here on the Week 2 Penn Preview on the Regional Radio Sports Network. Want to remind our listeners that you can tune in this Friday night at 6:30 Eastern Time on 91.1 The Globe and the Regional Radio Sports Network, with the pregame show kickoff at 7:30 right here on www.rrsn.com.